Your body may be forming cancer cells right now, and you wouldn't feel a thing. No pain, no warning, no symptoms. And yet, after the age of 50, this silent process becomes more frequent, more biologically active, and far more dependent on something most people overlook every single day. Not a drug, not a treatment, but a simple daily habit that may help determine whether those cells stay harmless or begin to grow. I'm Dr. Richard, and today I want to show you something most people never hear inside a doctor's office. Because the truth is, cancer doesn't suddenly appear overnight. It develops quietly, step by step, inside the body. And what happens in those early steps matters more than anything that comes later. After 50, your cancer risk increases. That part is well known. But here's what's not commonly explained. Your body is constantly producing abnormal or damaged cells, even in healthy individuals. Now that sounds alarming, but it's actually a normal part of biology, because your body also has built-in systems designed to control this. Your immune system identifies abnormal cells. Your repair systems attempt to fix damage, and in many cases, these cells are eliminated before they ever become a problem. So the real issue isn't the presence of abnormal cells. The real issue is what allows them to grow. Because for a tumor to grow beyond a microscopic size, it needs something very specific. It needs a blood supply. This process is known as angiogenesis, the formation of new blood vessels. Now let me simplify that. Imagine a tiny cluster of abnormal cells as a seed. On its own, it may remain small, inactive, even harmless. But the moment it connects to a blood supply, everything changes. It receives oxygen. It receives nutrients. It receives energy. It gets fed. And once that happens, growth can accelerate. What was once silent can begin to expand. So cancer doesn't become dangerous the moment it appears. It becomes dangerous when it gains the ability to grow. And this is where aging becomes important. Because after 50, the internal environment of the body begins to shift. Chronic low-grade inflammation becomes more common, a kind of internal background fire that never fully turns off. Your immune system may become less efficient at identifying abnormal cells. Oxidative stress, essentially cellular damage from everyday processes, begins to accumulate. And blood sugar regulation may become less stable, creating spikes that can fuel abnormal cell activity. Each of these factors alone is manageable, but together they create conditions where abnormal cells are more likely to survive, adapt, and grow. The soil becomes more fertile for that seed. Now here's where most people feel powerless, because it sounds like all of this is happening automatically. But that's not entirely true, because one of the most powerful daily influences on this process is something you control multiple times a day: your food. Certain foods contain natural compounds that may help regulate how blood vessels form in the body. Not by shutting the process down completely, because your body needs healthy blood vessels, but by helping prevent the kind of abnormal vessel growth that feeds harmful cells. This is part of what researchers study when they look at how diet may influence cancer risk over time. And this leads to a very different way of thinking. Instead of trying to fight disease later, you support your body in making it harder for it to develop in the first place. Now this is where many people go wrong. They start searching for one superfood, one thing they can take or add, and expect everything to change. But the body doesn't respond to one isolated input. It responds to patterns. Some foods provide a good starting point. Green tea contains plant compounds that may support cellular protection. Berries provide antioxidants that help reduce oxidative stress, that slows cellular damage we talked about earlier. Tomatoes contain lycopene, which has been linked to supporting cell health. These are helpful, but on their own, they are not enough. Because when we go deeper, we begin to see how systems connect. Cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and kale contain compounds that support your body's natural detox pathways, helping your cells process and remove harmful substances more efficiently. Turmeric contains curcumin, which may help regulate inflammation, not eliminating it, but preventing it from becoming chronic. Garlic supports immune signaling, helping your body stay alert to abnormal changes. Now, we're not just talking about food, we're talking about internal systems working together. But here's what most people never realize. The real benefit doesn't come from any one of these foods. It comes from how they work together, consistently, over time. When combined into a daily pattern, certain foods appear to support a more balanced internal environment. Extra virgin olive oil provides polyphenols that support vascular health. Soy-based foods contain natural compounds that have been studied for their potential role in regulating cellular growth signals. Even dark chocolate, in moderate amounts, provides flavonols that may support healthy blood vessel function. Individually, these foods help, but together, they begin to influence the terrain inside your body. They help shift it away from a state that supports uncontrolled growth, toward one that supports regulation, balance, and control. So the simple daily habit is not a single food. It's a pattern, a consistent daily way of eating that supports your body's natural defenses. And this is where we make it practical, because this doesn't require a complicated diet. It starts with small, repeatable choices. A cup of green tea instead of a sugary drink. Adding berries to your breakfast. Including a serving of vegetables like broccoli or leafy greens with your meals. Using olive oil instead of highly processed fats. Incorporating garlic and spices like turmeric into your cooking. A small piece of dark chocolate instead of highly processed desserts. These are simple shifts, but when repeated daily, they begin to influence biology. Now, an important note. This approach does not replace medical care. It does not treat or cure cancer, but it may help support the systems in your body that are already working to protect you. And that's where real prevention begins. So let me bring this together for you. After 50, your body becomes more vulnerable to the conditions that allow abnormal cells to grow. But at the same time, it still has powerful systems designed to control that process. The key is supporting those systems, consistently. Not once in a while, not when something goes wrong, but every single day. Because you don't fight disease only when it appears. You influence it, long before that moment, quietly, consistently, daily. I'm Dr. Richard. If this helped you see your health differently, let me know in the comments. Which of these foods are already part of your routine, and which ones could you start adding today? And if you want more clear, science-based insights like this, subscribe and stay with me. Because the small things you do daily often matter more than the big things you do occasionally.